$28.50, 26, 26.50, 27.50, 28, 28.50, 29.
The calm of a frosty Arbroath dawn is broken by the sound of the fish auction. Last night's catch is in.
33.50, 34.50, 35, 35.50.
For 5 generations, the Spinks family has been involved in the fish trade.
38.50, 39.
This morning, Bob Spinks is bidding for young haddock.
That is the perfect size. It's just a bit big.
Haddock is the main catch here. In these unpolluted waters, some of the finest fish are to be found, but the weather is bad and prices are high. What there is on its way to mongers and markets throughout Scotland, even before the sun is up. Scotland is famous for its natural produce, for its salmon, for its beef, for its sweets, and for its haggis, of course. But if you come to this small town on the east coast in the summer, when it isn't as cold as it is this morning, you'll find lots of signs outside windows saying Smokies. But the Arbroath Smokie is one of the great delicacies of the north.
There's a wee fishing village in the shores of the North Sea, once famous for smoked haddock, and they called it Auchmithie.
In fact, the Smokie never came from Arbroath at all, but from a small village up the coast called Auchmithie. This desolate cove once bustled with boats and tackle, and from here men rowed 12 miles or more straight out into the North Sea. The Smokie was born out of necessity.
Smokie evolved as almost certainly another preservation means. Driftwood was used as the fuel, and the fish would be smoked much heavier than it is nowadays, probably dried out completely. Originally, it was done in the chimney. In the chimney of the house, they used to hang the fish up the lumb, as we say, and it would hang there until it was smoked and totally dried.
But the smell soon drove them outside the house.
They dug their whisky barrels into the sides of the hills and the braes round about the village. It's changed from a wooden barrel now to a brick square barrel because of its more functional shape. But that change came not all that very long ago. The process itself is entirely as it was in the old days. It was a very hard life for a fisher wife. The fishwife had not only to look after her family, but she also had to bait the lines for the boat while it was at sea, so you had a new line for the next day. And even in the mornings when they were going out to sea, because in these days it was leather boots they wore, and in order to guarantee that a man went away to sea dry and warm, she would actually hitch up her skirts and carry him over the beach out to the boat. They tended to marry within their own particular close community and live within that community. The fisher names Spink, Swankie, Cargill are Norse in origin, they're not Scots names, and still you'll find in the fit of the tune that almost everybody is a Spink, a Swankie or a Cargill.
Today in Arbroath, the process has hardly changed. The Smokie is more than just a smoked haddock though. The technique is quite different. The haddock is headed, gutted, washed, and then dry salted. They are then tied in pairs to hang over the fire. The tough skin protects the delicate flesh.
We do not adjust the temperature as such. Experience tells us when the fish is smoking properly. Sometimes it's not 45 minutes as a hard rule. Sometimes it's half an hour, sometimes it's an hour and a quarter. Much depends on the weather, believe it or not. On a muggy, damp still day, the fire will take a long time to smoke, but on a brisk, windy day, it'll draw the fire and the fish will cook much quicker.
Ordinary smoked haddock, kippers and salmon, these are all cold smoked, preserved in the smoke at the very top of the kiln. But a smoky, on the other hand, is hot smoked. But what exactly does that mean?
Hot smoking, the fish is fully cooked. It's subjected to very high temperature smoke for a period of about 45 minutes, at the end of which it is wholly cooked. This fish would be certainly no more than 2 days old. 2 to 3 days old is about the normal. The fresher the better, really. But you can tell by peeling the skin from the fish, you will see the moisture inside the fish and how easily the skin peels away. But would you like to taste the piece?
Yes, you can.
If you try down here, you won't get so many bones.
That's a beautiful white colour.
Now you'll then see very quickly when the juice is running from the fish.
It's really beautiful. It's so delicate.
They're very delicately flavoured, isn't it? The bone of the fish also will come away very easily.
So
Like so.
And traditionally, how would we eat this? We would just take this like this with a bit of butter and a bit of bread?
The traditional way is to open the fish up, take out the bone. Remember, it's a cooked product and doesn't need cooking. If you cook it or try to cook it too much, then you'll simply dry it and lose its taste. Gently heat under the grill with butter is a traditional way. For your breakfast, with a bit of bacon, absolutely marvellous.
This is cheating. Straight out of the sea, straight out of the barrel. The taste is just mesmerising. Well, there's a lot of fishmongers sell something that's called a smoky, and sometimes even an Arbroath Smoky. It doesn't even look like that at all.
The smoky that most people have tried, particularly in England, is a smoky which has been made in a Tory kiln. The heat comes from electric elements in the side of the kiln, and the process would take around 4 hours, 4.5 hours. At the end of the time, it's dried up, it's lost its moisture, because it wasn't all that good to start with. And another very important point is they very often use colour additives to get the dark colour on the outside, which they can't get because they haven't got the intensity of heat that we get. We hope that people will begin to recognise and appreciate the value of the real Arbroath Smoky.
Bob Spinks runs a sophisticated modern business, but the smoky is still a genuine cottage industry in the backyards of many a wee butt and ben around the harbour. Bob's cousin Drew smokes his own in the time-honoured way, and he sells them from door to door. So whose are the best? I asked Drew's father, Andy.
It all depends. I think everybody in the town thinks their own smokies are the best, and that's about the only answer I can give you.
And what do you think?
Well, I prefer my own to anybody else's. Some reason is I've made them for a lot of years now.
A goodly part of Arbroath's prosperity was and is founded on the smoky. But whether or not 3-year-old Ashley will become the 6th generation of the Spink family in the trade is not so sure. The smoky is in danger of being blotted out by imitations and increasing standardisation. And that would be a tragedy, not just because they taste good, but because of what the smoky has come to mean in terms of jobs and a way of life.